everyone, and happy Monday. I just wanted to introduce the 3 principles of design that you will be learning about this week. So let's get into it. So, this week each of you is going to have an element of art or principle of design to focus on. 6th grade, you're going to focus on emphasis. 7th grade, you're going to focus on space. And 8th grade, you're going to focus on balance. Now let's learn what these are. Emphasis is where one part of the artwork stands out more than the rest. So we can see in some of these examples one piece of the artwork stands out more than the rest. And some ways that you can make things stand out are having a different size, a different color, or a different value of an object that's inside of the artwork. So in this piece, obviously what stands out is the giant red circle. So the color and the size makes it stand out. In this piece, we see the white chess piece. That value makes it stand out the most. And then obviously the size of this little chick right here makes it stand out the most. Some examples of emphasis. We have this one standing out because of its color. This one is standing out because of its size, so it's bigger than the rest. This one is a different color than the rest. And this man stands out the most because he is darker than the rest of the piece. So this is the darkest value in the piece. Space. For your 7th grade, you're going to learn about space. Space is the area inside of an art piece. It can be positive or negative. And what does that even mean? Positive space is the main subject or ideas, or main subject or objects inside of the artwork. So we can see the shark would be the positive space. And then all this area around it would be called the negative space. That's the area around the main subject. Here's some examples of positive and negative space. As we can see in this one, the cat is the positive space. The woman is the positive space here. And the Grammy-shaped music player is the positive space. Just because it's white doesn't always mean that it's positive space. It's the main subject or images inside of a piece that are positive space. And then obviously the black spaces in these images would be the negative space. That's the area around the objects. 8th grade, balance. So there's a couple different types of balance, but let's first define what balance is. Balance is the visual weight being given in an artwork. I'm going to have to fix that spelling. One side is not heavier than the other, so it's the same on both sides, especially when we have our first type of balance, which is symmetrical balance. And the piece has the same weight on both sides, so if we put a line straight down the middle, we would see the same amount of weight on both sides. So let's say it's 2 circles on both sides. One circle is not bigger than the other. One circle is not darker than the other. One circle is not a different value than the other. Asymmetric balance is when, and that's this one right here. So we see symmetric. Now we see asymmetric balance, which is if we split a line down the middle of this, there would still be the same amount of weight on both sides. So we still have 2 circles, but one is up here, one is down here. It's not necessarily completely the same like this one would be. If we split this right down the middle, it would be exactly the same. But the weight is still on both sides with asymmetric balance. Radial balance is where all the parts of the artwork radiate from a center point. So in this piece, the point would be right here, and all the circles go towards that middle point. Here are the types of balance in action. So we can see asymmetrical balance here. So we see weight here, we see weight here. This tree is obviously bigger than these trees, but there's multiple trees to balance out that weight. We see symmetrical balance here, so when we split this in half, it's the exact same on both sides, or almost exactly the same. And this would be radial balance, so every single part of this piece is radiating from that middle point. So now that we've talked about emphasis, space, and balance, I want to show you some examples with some cartoon characters and some real-world examples. So I'm going to open up my Photoshop. If I take a look, There's two girls on a seesaw, and the original image is symmetrically balanced because if we put a line straight down the middle, there's the same amount of weight on both sides. I'm going to get my girl Peppa Pig copied and pasted onto this PowerPoint, and I'm going to drag her over. And the thing with Peppa is she is a lot bigger than her brother, which we're going to add. So she's on one side. Now we're going to copy and paste George onto the other. Remember, this original image was symmetrically balanced. So he's a lot smaller. That's her baby brother. We can see now that the left side, where Peppa Pig is where there is more weight. So this would not be balanced. It's almost balanced, but Peppa Pig is a lot larger than George Pig is. So I just realized this video is a little bit out of order. Please remember 6th grade you're doing emphasis, 7th grade you're focused on space, 8th grade you're looking at balance. So let's get into it. So there's a couple different ways we can create emphasis. One is emphasis with size. As we can see, the big dot stands out more than the rest. It has more visual weight. Now I'm going to copy and paste. I tried to make another color, but it ended up being blue. I'm going to try and change the color of this circle. Now, what stands out the most is the orange, only because there are no other orange circles, and it doesn't go with the pattern that the rest of the twister board had. Now, there's also another way that I can create emphasis, and I'm going to go to my adjustments to do this, and that's with value. So I just made it darker than the rest of my piece. And last but not least, for 7th grade we have space. So I have a picture of Naruto here, and if you look in the space around the Naruto characters, this is what we call the negative space. That's space that's turning green and pink. The Naruto characters are actually the positive space, and I want to show you why. They are the main objects. So if you look, they are the positive space, the main subjects, and the area around that's checkered is the negative space.